Shout out to Alana Trotman for sending me this story. And the last time I talked about Keith Raniere, it was about him getting his 100 some odd year life sentencing for the role he played in the NXIVM sex cult ring organization. Well, now I'm back to do another video about him, and no, it's not because the charges were overturned and he's getting out of jail. That's far from happening. It's actually more of a laughable thing from us to him. So Keith Raniere has come out and said that he fears he will be killed in prison, and he said he describes his dangerous situation in recorded messages from jail. Are we supposed to care? Dude, like, you got a life sentence attached to you. Do you really think people actually care, and considering your past and what you've done? See, what he's trying to do is he's trying to gain sympathy points in hopes that they could either lessen his sentence or maybe move him to a nice cushy prison. This lets me know right here that whether he's lying or not about his situation, he's not in the best place right now, and we hope nothing but the best for him in that regard. At least I do, and I know many and several of you who are listening do as well. So let's read this article and see what they're talking about. NXIVM sex cult leader Keith Raniere claims his life may not be long and fears he will be killed in prison. Raniere, age 60, was sentenced to 120 years behind bars for running the cult from 1998 and currently resides at the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center. But as the prospect of being moved in with the general population of a maximum security prison looms, he explained to a journalist, Frank Parlato, of the Frank Report, that he fears for his life due to his dangerous situation. The Bureau of Prison is in process of arranging Raniere's permanent placement, where he will serve his sentence for a long list of offenses, including sex trafficking of children and conspiracy to commit forced labor. Frank Parlato, who is said to have played a crucial role in destroying the sex cult, shared a series of phone call transcripts in which Raniere details his concerns. In one of the recordings, he claims a man who was notorious for being vicious and said to be involved with the Latin Kings or MS-13 gangs has told various people that he plans to have Raniere killed. He's been vicious to even his own family, vicious to anyone when he doesn't get his way. In a way, he is seen as a tyrant. He's seen as someone who has so much money and so much power, he can always get whatever he wants. Raniere continued. He told various people he would put as much money as necessary, literally hundreds of millions of dollars, to have me put in jail for the rest of my life, to have me killed, to have me destroyed, to have me whatever, the worst thing you can imagine. Speaking about the future, he predicts he will not live for long if he is put in with the general population in a maximum security prison, something he claims he was warned about years ago. See, he's like pouring his heart out right now as if we're supposed to just collect what he's pouring out, or picking up what he's putting down. We don't care. We really don't care. He made the conscious decision to go ahead and do what he did for all of these years, and now he has to face the consequences, but he feels that he probably should get away with this, most likely on the strength of him being a white man and who has a bit of a status, if you want to call it that. But as you can see, none of that worked in his favor. Yes, I'm looking, I'll be in here for the rest of my life if we don't do something. The rest of my life may not be that long considering the way things are in here. Once I get into a destination point, I guess I'll go to a pen. While the judge has not handed Raniere a death penalty sentence, he suggests being sent to penitentiary is a death penalty. Over the next month to 2 months is a real countdown for me. Because once they designate me and either ship me off to the Supermax or ship me off to a pen, things become dangerous for me, and you guys may never get to speak to me again for all I'll know. Many don't want to talk to you now, while they have the opportunity to do so. Late last month, a court heard how the cult-like group kept women on starvation diets, branded them with his initials in order to have sex with him. In court, 15 women gave impact statements. Among them were former girlfriends of Raniere and former victims. They labeled him a parasite and a psychological terrorist. Raniere's lawyers asked that he be sentenced to 15 years, but after telling the judge he had no remorse for the crimes because he didn't commit them, Judge Nicholas Garofis handed down the sentence that means he will spend the rest of his life in prison. So he basically nailed his own coffin shut by saying he had no remorse. If he said he had remorse, he probably would have gave him that 15 years. Branding Raniere ruthless and unyielding in crimes that were particularly egregious because he targeted girls and young women, Judge Garofis said, "To him, the brave victims are liars. Mr. Raniere remains unmoved. He has therefore failed to demonstrate any type of remorse." He handed down the unusually high sentence in federal court in Brooklyn after hearing anguished statements by victims of a sex trafficking conspiracy that resulted in Raniere's conviction last year, along with unrepentant remarks from the defendant himself. "I do believe I am innocent of the charges. It is true I am not remorseful of the crimes I do not believe I committed at all." Raniere founded NXIVM in Albany, New York in 1998, but in between then and 2017, recruited more than 17,000 people to do it, promising them self-help. But within the secretive organization, there was an even clandestine subsect which he was the master of. Named DOS, the subsect involved women being his sexual slaves and submitting themselves entirely to his control. They were branded with his initials, starved, sleep deprived, and forced to engage in group sex and blackmailed with collateral they had provided in the form of incriminating photos, videos, or information about them or their families. Raniere also punished young women, including a teenager who prosecutors said he held in a room for 2 years as punishment because she's shown a romantic interest in another man. I feel absolutely nothing for him. Did you hear what I said? This guy has no remorse for what he did, and he wants to now have people feel bad for him. See, he's going into this whole situation on the wrong foot. Now he realizes that there's people out there to get him. So he must have stepped on a lot of toes over the years, and they ready to bite back. And he's in a position where he's going to be cornered and he won't be able to get out of it. He can't just run and escape. He's in a position where they know where he's going to be at. So he hasn't, as of right now, been put into Gen Pop, but they say he's in a detention center. But 9 times out of 10, Gen Pop is most likely where he's going to end up. Oh, well, I feel nothing for this guy. That's exactly what he gets. That is exactly what he gets for doing what he did to all of those women. It's crazy because, again, Me Too has yet to say anything about this, but we know why that is. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.